Welcome. I'm here with Dr. Sean Hall. He's the CEO, and we are actually having a discussion about some of the things that his company is doing and working on. Let's go ahead and get started here. Dr. Hall, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Michael, I'm really good. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. Let's get started by talking a little bit about the company. What does it do, and what are you guys focused on?
Two things. We use delivery platforms to improve, enhance, call it what you will, medicines. Where we really focal our therapeutic development is in, and I have to be careful how I say it because the term's thrown around a lot, but in these unmet needs. So let me clarify that. It's more than a marketing spin. We have patient populations today that are at significant risk because current standard care produces medically what we call a non-responder rate. Simply means the best of what we have that we've documented as medical protocol for those patients simply doesn't work. So two examples of this, we focus on pain, and in that we're going head to head with opioids. And we focus on mental health, and in many cases, we're going head to head with standard antidepressant medications.
Understood. Okay, and who's the target market that you guys are going after with this?
Broad stroke, it's obviously the patients. We're pretty patient-centric in what we do. But when you peel back those various onion layers, we are targeting a group of patients who well documented, well known, it's very much in the literature, but simply do not respond to standard care and require significant innovation in current medicines. But they're large and they're global populations. And if we look at a trend analysis through health economic publications, whether it's US side, Australian side, or UK side, it's an ever growing population.
Got it. Okay, and what's the potential addressable market for this as well? How large do you think the opportunity could be?
Depends how we look at it. We all know what the size of the opioids were because it was heavily documented through both state and federal prosecution of various opioid companies for the claims that they put up over the last couple of years. Purdue is a good one, and I think it brought to the attention just how big the opioid market was for the US. I think circa now, when we look at the data, it's still around about 80 billion US dollars globally, and it's a market we really want to disrupt. If I jump into mental health, it's really hard to put a financial quantum against that, but we are well aware that the World Health Organization has global mental health issues, depression, anxiety, stress, all bound into one, saying it's estimated that it affects 5% of the global population today, and they're calculating this on yearly events. The point is when we look at compounded annual growth, there's no relief in that. These numbers increase. So from these two patient target populations, the numbers kind of get stupid really quick if I start calling out specific quantums. The other side of the company, and it's the nexus on everything we do, is delivery platforms. And delivery platforms have really recently come to light when we start to look at, in biotech, or we look at Pfizer's response to the COVID pandemic, where they've used delivery platforms to accelerate and enhance RNA medicines for a different intended use. So it doesn't matter how we look at it. These are significant markets globally, patient population, potential quantums in size that we're chasing out. But as I said earlier in this interview, when we look at the data, there is a growing number of non-responders to standard care. That's where we're going to target.
Got it. And then what are your competitors doing in this space? And who are the competitors, and what are you guys doing differently to separate yourselves?
It's funny you mention that because the company has only recently taken on a complete refresh on our global competitor landscape. And again, we have to segment down into pain and people working on new pain indications or improved opioid use or opioid reduction therapy. And there's a plethora of companies, traditional and biotech, in that space. And the same with mental health. So I think we're at a point now, whilst we have a delivery platform and we do deploy it to new medicines or investigative drugs, we have some drugs coming into potentially a late stage investigational period with high optics on being market available in a few short years. So, we're starting to watch everything from the big boys. In some cases, it might be a Pfizer, it might be a Jazz, it might be an M Biotech, to other smaller biotechs that have US market sizes, under 100 million. And they've got some interesting work coming through. They still may have anywhere from a 5 to 10 year event horizon, but we are starting to watch them as we really do eye on what market entry to the US and to EU5 looks like.
Got it. Okay, and then on your board and your management team, who's an industry leading expert that's really driving some of this change for you guys?
Yeah, so I'm actually blessed. I have a really good board and management team. And when I say that, I have representatives from the old Abbott pharmaceutical company, which became Mylan, which became Viatris. I have people on from Sanofi. I have people on from Novartis Oncology. I then have some people who have been very much in public life and in those financial markets. And I have people from academia. And in all that, we get a blend on what research looks like to commercialize, and then how do we accelerate those various pathways. So I think I'm truly blessed in that regard, to tell you the truth.
Fantastic. And then the obstacles that you're going to be overcoming over the next 12 to 18 months, what are some key takeaways that investors should have their eye out for here?
Yeah, there's several things here. So broad stroke, a number of our programs are getting into pre-commercialization stages in early partnering with a number of companies. So I'd be watching for early revenue or collaboration deals with more established, let's say, pharma that has distribution and all that sort of thing. That's well and truly on the cusp. The other thing that we're getting involved in now from a pharma aspect is market access. And in market access, we're having qualified conversations with some countries on potential price reimbursement for these new drugs that really are literally a tomorrow type opportunity. Beyond that, there is more work going through US FDA, and in the next few months, we will start talking more and more about that as we step into late stage pivotal trials that will be around solidifying efficacy on drugs. So 12 to 18 months, commercial, price reimbursement, FDA.
Terrific. Dr. Sean Hall, CEO of Medlab Clinical, thank you so much for being here with us.
Mate, pleasure. Take care.